What's up, guys? We are just now starting the live stream. I have these blue blocker glasses on. I'm trying this new healthy thing out, and apparently blue light is supposed to be bad for you. So I got these fancy smancy blue blocker glasses. The only downside is the fact that yesterday, after making the video that I uploaded yesterday, I stepped on them, and this fucking thing fell off. And fuck. And now I just demonstrated how it fell off. I can't wear them anymore because I broke it again. But yeah, dude, I fucking love these. So if you like health and you want to be the healthiest version of you, definitely recommend some blue blockers. I actually met the guy who made these. I'm just rambling right now so more people can come on so we can start the actual topic of the call, which is obviously 7 shocking facts about approaching women. But to finish my thought on this, I met the guy who owns this company, Swanwick Blue Blocker Glasses. Really dope guy. But anyways, let me know if you can hear me all right. I'm reading the comments. I have my laptop right here so I can see the desktop view as well as the view that I'm seeing of myself while I'm talking to this random phone in an empty room. So let me look at some of the comments. Hello from Chad. Hello from a jar of pickles. Hello from Ethan. I have a funny story about pickles, jar of pickles. So I always think about my funny story. Maybe I'll tell it one day whenever I see your comments come in. So yeah, dude, welcome, guys. Obviously, once again, I'm just rambling so we can get more people on the call, but the topic of today's video is going to be the 7 shocking facts about approaching women. Now, let me get a poll from you guys. I want to know who here that is watching the live stream, whether you're in the replay or you're live like we are now. I want you to leave a comment or go into the chat so I can see it live. Who here enjoys approaching women? Who here enjoys it? Give me a yes if you enjoy it. If you do not enjoy it or you have not done much approaching of women, then tell me no, or tell me why it's a no or not, why it's not a yes. But hey, what's up, Antar? Hey, what's up, Chad? I do wish a beer in me. Dude, it's Wednesday. Why are you trying to drink beer? I guess. All right, so a jar of pickles. Me, I love talking to hot girls. It's so much fun. I'd agree, hot or not, like as long as someone is cool, I don't mind talking to them. I love talking to people. It's kind of why I have a YouTube channel, because I talk too much, so I got to start talking to a camera. Ethan, hey, who else here does approaching? I love approaching once I have one beer. Just one? That's all you need? One would argue, why do you even need the beer in the first place if you're only having one? I'm drinking water here, not vodka, by the way. All right, I love it, guys. So the reason why I made this the topic of this call, because a lot of you guys, I'm getting into it now. All right, a lot of you guys who watch my videos on a regular basis, if you've been following raw dating advice for any period of time, if you like this kind of dating advice stuff, almost dropped my laptop, then obviously, fuck, I lost my train of thought when I dropped my laptop. Then obviously, I've only uploaded a few videos about the topic of approaching women. Now, why is this? Honestly, man, it's because I feel like I've always been the type of dude who wants to do things differently than everybody else, because I want to improve on things and I want to be the best version of me. And there's one of two ways to be the best at what you do. It's by building the tallest building in town or knocking all the other buildings over. I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna knock down my competition. I'm just gonna outwork, out hustle, and be more talented than everybody else as well. So everybody else talks about approaching women. I talk about other things like attraction and things that you guys like, things that are tangible, because I'm assuming that a lot of times us guys, women are every other person in the world, right? So it's very hard for you to go through your day if you ever leave your house, which I hope you do, right? Because if you are the type of person who lives in your mom's basement and never leaves your house and only plays video games and jerks off to porn all day, and you don't ever take action and you're kind of fat and you don't ever work out, like, I know that's not the type of person who watches my videos, because we are attracted to people like us, and I am nothing like that. So I know that's not the type of person who's here. But for all of you other guys, I know that it's very hard to go throughout the day without talking to at least one person with a vagina. So I know that you guys are out there taking action, but approaching gets this bad stigma. A lot of times guys go, oh, that's that pickup artist thing, or, oh, you know, we can't talk about that because that's taboo, right? But here's the thing, dude. A lot of guys, they psych themselves out before they even get in the game. Not to mention the fact that, like, when you are about to approach a girl, right? You can think, a lot of guys psych themselves out with, like, what do I say? How do I walk up to her? What if that guy next to her is her boyfriend, right? But before we even get to that step, it's very, I would venture to guess that probably 80 to 85% of people, not just men, but people, when they go out, they don't talk to anybody that they don't know. They only talk to their friends. And I'm only telling you this from personal experience because before I even first approached a girl ever, I didn't even know cold approach or approaching in general was a thing, right? I was the type of guy who would always go out to the bars with my one or two guy friends, my closest buddies, and maybe one of their girlfriends or one of our friends who happened to be a girl. We would go out to parties, bars, clubs, with the coworkers and whatnot, but I would never venture out from my group. I would never go and talk to the other people in the venue. I would notice them, and if I bumped into them, I was kind of shy and just timid and just didn't talk to them and went back to talking to the people I knew. And I would guess that is not uncommon. I would guess that a lot of people probably do that. And I would guess that a lot of the guys watching this video, if you do approach women now, you probably were like I was at one point in your life too. Can I get an amen? If I'm on track at all, let me know. All right, so I'm gonna be reading, like I said, I'm reading some of the comments right here as they come in, and they also pop up on the screen, but I'm so focused on my own pretty face that I don't even see them while they pop up on my phone. So Mark says, hi, same here, I love breaking the meta and being a maverick and making my own path in life. Yes, a jar of pickles. Dude, I don't know your actual name, but I'm starting to like pickles more. I'm just saying that. My approach line of the week is, I want to buy you a drink. We're gonna talk about this, Chad. I would not recommend that line, and I'll tell you why here towards the end of the call. And by the way, for everybody who's watching this video right now, if you stick around to the end of the call, I will tell you how you can get a free coaching call with me. Free. No strings attached, nothing. It's an absolutely free coaching call. And that's gonna come here later in the video. Why do I do that? Because I'm creating an open loop, right? You can use this in your seduction too, in your conversations, right? But when you lead a person down a path conversationally, and then you tell them, hold on, I gotta go, I'll be right back. And you go do something else and then you come back, that whole time you were gone, that's an open loop. It's like telling half the story and then not getting, like you finish the story before the climax. So a good way to just get people more interested in what you're saying when you're speaking to them is have more open loops in your story. A lot of time people tell like really boring stories, or they don't have much change in their vocal tonality, so their voice sounds boring while they're telling their story, or their story is too damn predictable, right? And I'm getting off topic here, but I think this is good value for you. So have open loops in your story. Lead them down a path and then change the topic real quick and then come back to that path later. And if you link these open loops throughout your conversations, it's going to keep people more engaged with you, especially women, right? Have more mystery, right? Open loops between dates with the different girls that you're going on dates with. So point of that story was, I gave you an open loop to stick around through the end of the call, and chances are a lot of the guys who are interested in coaching with me, they're going to stay throughout the call because they want to hear how they can get free coaching with me. All right, so that's how open loops work. You naturally attract the people who are actually engaged with your story just by doing them, okay? So let's get into the fact about approaching women, right? 7 shocking facts. And I promise you, you probably haven't heard a whole lot of people give these facts. And this video is not meant to be like a how-to. It's gonna be more of like getting you psyched up about going and approaching women. Because a lot of times guys, they hear what they need to do and they don't need more information to take action. They just need to be more motivated to actually take the action, right? Whether that's motivation through future success or motivation through fear of just like continuing to live a mediocre life, right? So most guys just need that extra hype. So that's what we're gonna be doing in this video. Are you guys with me so far? You guys like what I'm saying and what I'm telling you is gonna be on this call yet? Hell yes, I'm in that phase somewhat right now, and I'm only 15, so I'm like, dude, I'm so surprised by how many younger guys follow Raw Dating Advice, which is awesome because I know that if I had learned any of this information when I was 15, oh man, I would be a completely, I mean, it's scary to think about where I could be right now. Yeah, dude. So let's get into the first one. Let's just get right into it. All right. So the first shocking fact about approaching women is it's the easiest way to meet women, right? I just said this at the beginning of the call, right? But here's the thing, man. Every other person in the world has a vagina. Every other person in the world has a vagina. That means every other person in the world you could potentially mate with. Does that mean you want to? Absolutely not. So let's say that you're a very picky person. Very, very picky. And I'm only breaking it down to the ridiculous because I know myself, it's kind of hard to, you see like a population number, you see a number on a screen, you go, oh, this town has 50,000 people, this town has 15,000 people, but you don't understand how many fucking people 15,000 people is. That's what I'm saying, right? So let's say you're a very picky person and there's 10,000 people in your city, which is a small city, right? But think about how many people 10,000 people actually is. Try to picture 10,000 people standing in the same room as you. That's a lot of fucking people, right? And every one of those has a vagina. So that's 5,000 people right there that you could potentially approach or talk to or meet or, develop a relationship with, have a rewarding conversation with. So let's say you're picky and maybe 0.1% of the population you're actually going to like enough to go up and approach. What's 0.1% of 5,000? It's like 50, 100, I'm bad at mental math, but it's like if you only had 100 people in your city, in your 10,000 person city to approach, can someone comment? It's going to kill me if I don't bust out a calculator and figure that out. 0.1% of 5,000 is 5, right? So if you only have 500, dude, I think it's like 50. I'm sounding so uneducated right now. It's 500, right? So let's say there's 500 people in your city that you would actually be attracted to because you're picky and you only like 0.1% of people. You picky ass person. Okay, so if you are looking for people who are attractive, and this is assuming you have standards in your life. If you're looking for people who you find attractive, which we've already established there's at least 500 of those in your city, right? And you're looking for someone who has similar interest to you. Well, what does that mean that you're going to do? You're going to go out, and if you're into working out, you're going to go to the gym. You're going to go to the track and run laps. You're going to go, watch sports events around your city or in a town or a city nearby, right? So that's 500 people, and let's say half of those people have the same interests as you. That's 250 women who are going to be at the same fucking places as you in your town or city, right? So if you're picky and you think cold approach is some hard way to meet women, then you're absolutely fucking wrong. Because I just broke down the numbers, and now we know that there's at least 250 girls right now doing what you're doing right where you are, and you ain't talking to them. Okay? So that's the point I want to make, and that's a very shocking fact. Who here was shocked by that fact? Let me know. Give me a bunch of ones, if you're shocked by that fact, if that fact kind of like had a light bulb moment for you. Chad, he's laughing. It's 5, bruh, LOL. All right. So here's the thing, man. Approaching is the easiest way to meet women. However, most guys, they sit behind their phone screen and they sit behind their computer screen and they create dating profiles. It didn't surprise me, but I didn't know it nonetheless. All right? Perfect. At least I gave you a little golden nugget that maybe you hadn't thought of before. And I like hearing a lot of perspectives on this because, a lot of times it's not about finding out a new way, but it's about being more resourceful with the current ways that you already got, the current tools you already got. So if you can see the same tool and then see it from a different angle and see it in a way that you've never seen that same tool that you use every day before, then now you're more educated, you're more wise now. All right. So not even surprised because I have your book. Dude, yeah, this is what I'm hearing, man. A lot of people who get my book, maybe I shouldn't have made my book so good because if it wasn't that good, you guys would be a little bit more surprised by the random facts I dropped to my phone screen. But, obviously I'm just happy to hear that the book is getting a lot of success for guys and it's also inspiring you guys to actually go out and take action. That was my dog, Chad, and he was barking because he can hear me yelling and he wants to talk to me. I don't blame him. All right, so back on track. Most guys, they hide behind a screen. And what they're doing is they're swiping right on all the girls that they think are hot. Or if you have a dating profile, you're messaging the girls that you think are hot, right? But now this girl has to go window shopping. And here's the thing. When you talk to a person in person, you have your vocal tonality, you have the actual things you talk about, and you have your nonverbal communications on top of your vocal tonality. So your body language, the pacing of your voice, right? You have all these different aspects that go into a person's impression of you when you're in person. But when you're online and you hide behind 5 of your best pictures, and that's assuming you even have good pictures in the first place, now a girl is judging you based on how good you were at marketing yourself using 5 pictures, right? So a lot of guys can do that, and to a lot of guys that doesn't sound very hard. But here's the thing. Not only does she have to like what she sees, but you now also have to bring in the messaging back and forth and make sure your messaging are actually going to lead to a place that's going to convince her to trust you enough, this person who has a picture online, to trust you enough to meet you in person, right? Now, a lot of guys do this successfully. However, I'm just saying when you embrace approaching as the easiest way to meet women, what you're essentially doing is you're cutting out the middleman. You don't have to find good pictures, test if the pictures are getting a good response or not, test if your bio is witty enough to get her to respond back to you, and then actually get her to trust you enough using a few text messages to meet you in person. You eliminate that whole process by simply just walking up to her and starting a conversation. Does anybody else hear what I'm saying here? Like, give me a 1. Anytime, just for the rest of the call, if you agree with what I'm saying, or you're just like, this is fucking awesome, or I like this rant that you're going on, just start typing 1s, bro, because it motivates me to keep going. All right, it motivates me to up my game, because I'm the type of person who I don't want to settle for just like validation. I want to up my shit, So it cuts out the middleman, and it's the simplest way to meet women. Now, here's the thing. Why do guys, let me know your opinion, why do you feel like guys don't approach girls? Like, I've gone out with guys who pay me for coaching, and I ask them how long they've been studying this stuff, and sometimes I get answers that surprise me, like, oh, I've been following dating advice for a couple of years now, I've been following dating advice for 4 months, whatever it may be. But if they're not getting whatever it says, I'm always surprised if a guy's been in the game for several years studying this advice, but he hasn't really done a whole lot of approaches, and he still sucks with girls 3 years later, right? I'm surprised by that, because if you're actually going out and taking action and you're actually approaching women, this is the fastest way to get good with girls. I'm telling you, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But most guys just never want to learn the skill. So why do you guys think those guys are not taking a lot of action when it comes to approaching women? They're scared and nervous, fear of rejection. It's very simple, and they are scared and don't want to get rejected. Probably fear of rejection. I'm always the opener for my friends. Dude, I love that, Chad. Don't know what to do afterwards. The application of information, not using it properly. Exactly. At the end of the day, the only reason you don't go up and talk to her is because you're afraid of fear. You have that fear of getting rejected. You have that fear of other people seeing you get rejected, and now they judge you, and now the whole group is rejecting you. That fear is there, right? I understand that because I've felt that before, right? And I'm likely you guys have felt that before too. But most guys don't ever even take that first step, right? And if you can't even get yourself over the fear to do it in the first place, and you're the guy who studies this shit for 3 years but never gets any fucking real world results, then you're doing this wrong, and you're not even in the game. You think you're in the game because you're studying this shit, but you're not in the game, right? The bench warmer sitting at the end of the bench on the Los Angeles Lakers, he's not even in the game. I don't care if he's wearing a Lakers jersey. I don't care if he goes to practice every day and he studies information. Until he steps his foot on the fucking court and plays against the other team, he's not in the other game. He's not in the game, right? So if you're studying this shit and you're not approaching women, if you're not talking to women, if you're sitting behind a computer screen and getting ghosted by the only hot girls on the site, then what the fuck are you doing with your time? Seriously, you're not even in the game. I want you to understand that. So most guys, I just want to say, like, most guys will never learn this skill. I think that's a perfect transition. So this is the second shocking fact. Most guys will never learn this skill. We've already established how stupidly simple it is, how it cuts out the middleman. You know, it's mainstream to be dating online. It's mainstream to be swiping right on Tinder and Bumble, right? That's a very common thing between most people in society, especially in America, right? I don't know about the other countries because I haven't been to a ton of other countries, but I know that's the way it is in America. But most guys will never, ever, ever approach a girl. Most guys will never overcome that fear of actually just taking that first step and seeing what happens, right? They let fear keep them from even being in the game in the first place, and they wonder why they settle for a girl that they're not even attracted to. Why the divorce rate's so damn high in America. Because guys are settling for the one chick who happens to maybe sit next to them at work, or happens to bump into them wherever they meet, or happens to get introduced to them by a mutual friend. And they settle for the one of those that happens to like him back, right? It's no wonder why most guys lead mediocre dating lives, all right? So most guys will never learn this skill because it's not normal. They think they have that fear of rejection and they don't even realize how irrational that fear is, right? And it's very unfortunate because I can't even imagine where I would be today if I had never actually made that first approach, right? And honestly, like, I think one of the main reasons why guys never get good at this is because maybe they do one or two times happen to approach a girl, but they psych themselves out about it. They go, well, shit, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I gotta go up and I gotta get her phone number. I gotta go up and make her like me, and my friends will validate me, and I'll come back to the group of my friends and they'll go, dude, that was fucking awesome. You actually did it, right? This is how we think. It's all about, but if you really think about it, every motivation behind the thoughts that I was just thinking out loud for you for that example, every motivation behind those fears was the opinion that others had of you. So I would say, I mean, just for practical value, like if you actually suffer from fear of approaching, or if you actually don't think, like, if you haven't actually talked to a lot of women that you don't know, just for the sake of going up and talking to her, if you're the type of guy who hasn't done a whole lot of that yet, then I would ask yourself, do you really value yourself? Do you really value living the best life that you have, right? As far as we know, this is the only life that we have. So ask yourself, do you want to be playing on the sidelines for the rest of your life? Do you want to be on your deathbed wondering what if? Absolutely not. I know that whether or not there is an afterlife, if there is or is not an afterlife, I'm going to do the fucking whatever I can to win the game of life while I'm here. Period. Right? And if that means going up and talking to a girl over there and risking rejection, so be it. Because I guarantee you, when I'm 65 or 105 and I'm looking back on my life, wondering what if I had done that, I won't be wondering what if. I'll be thinking back like, damn, that was a good story. Or damn, that was fun. Or damn, that sucked, but at least I know, right? I'm more wise now, right? Most guys don't have the perspective like this. So, you know, whether or not you've been taking a lot of action, it's really good to get these alternative views on the same thing that you probably think about and look at every single day. So that's the second fact, is most guys will never even learn this skill, but most guys don't even know what's possible, right? And I will say this, I feel like the guys who do succeed, the guys who overcome that hump, it's because they finally start appreciating themselves and they start valuing themselves, and then they finally stop putting so much damn pressure on themselves, right? Here's the thing. A lot of guys will go, man, I got to approach her to get her number. Well, dude, why do you even want her number? You don't even know if she's cool yet, right? Take this one step at a time. So most guys are thinking too many steps ahead, right? And if you maybe aren't seeing a lot of consistent success with you approaching women, then you definitely need to take it one step backwards, right? One step slower. You know, in fact, just go one step ahead, one step at a time, right? If you're thinking, I got to go up and actually sleep with this girl, I got to get this girl, then you're doing it wrong because you're psyching yourself out. And here's the thing. Now, I have so many stories to prove this to you, but let's think about this. Let's say you go up, you're thinking, man, I got to go up with her and I got to take her home at the end of the night. And you're thinking that to yourself before you've even approached her. Well, let's say you go up to her, the conversation goes great, you make out with her, you get her phone number, but you didn't take her home and you didn't sleep with her, right? Now you kind of feel like, well, I didn't do what I set out to do. I didn't accomplish anything. I didn't go home with that chick, and you have a negative viewpoint of your experiences. So you give up, you get frustrated, and you get burnt out real quick. But I feel like the guys who overcome the hump and actually continue to get good at this stuff, they're the types of guys who they don't go, I gotta go home with that girl. They go, well, shit, I'm not that good at approaching girls, and I don't even know what to say, but I'm just gonna go up and see what happens. One step at a time. The first step is going up and getting her damn attention. Period. Don't even think about taking her home until you've gotten her attention. Then you can come back to me and say, yo, like, what do I say after, like, when this happens or when she says this, right? But if you're thinking too far ahead, let's just take it one step at a time. All right. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Damn right. Man, I could listen to you all day. Thank you, Chad. I feel like sometimes I go on good rants, and I feel like lately I've just been giving less of a fuck. And I feel like this has been making my game and my videos way better. And here's why. When I started my channel, and this is like any beginner, when you start any skill, especially cold approaching, you're gonna go through a phase where you're trying to force yourself to become someone you're not yet. You're growing into that version of you, and you have to go through that process. I'm not saying this is a bad thing at all. You have to go through that process because you're like, that's where I want to go. So to get there, I know I'm going to be a different person when I'm there than I am now. So I'm going to have to start taking different actions to make me that person. And when you're taking actions that aren't congruent with who you think you are right now, then you feel like you're forcing it a little bit. You're growing into that skill a little bit. And so that was definitely my story with YouTube or social media in general. And I had to take a step back. Like, if you guys haven't realized this, I mean, I haven't been posting every day like I was a year ago, right? Part of it was because I was like, I like my videos. I like the information I'm talking about, and I think guys are getting value out of this. But part of it was like, why am I posting a video about that topic? And I know that back then, when I was posting every day, I felt like I couldn't post something unless it was something that guys search a lot, right? Because I obviously want my videos to get discovered, right? Now I feel like I'm making content that is not only relevant to you, but I'm making content that is entertaining for me, right? So I can be more self-entertaining on camera, because again, even just the skill of talking to a camera, like you guys don't understand, if you've never spoken to a camera without an audience, it's not like talking to a person, and that's a weird thing to overcome. And this is why a lot of, like, if you go back and watch any big YouTuber's first video, they're so much more awkward on camera. This is why, because it's so weird to talk to an inanimate object that's playing your face like looking in a mirror digitally, and that's the only thing in the room that can hear you speaking. It's really weird to think about that. So that's like another reason why people almost feel like they're forcing it on camera. So I feel like lately, just going back on the fact that you could listen to me all day, I think it's because I'm being more myself on camera now, right? And I'm making content that entertains me and is also valuable to you. So yeah, man, that's kind of the whole raw dating advice confession booth right here. So go big or go home. Why would I lose sight of my objective? If I am playing the game, I'm playing to win, and I have every intention of taking her home with me. A jar of pickles. Yes, but one step at a time. You're going to, I understand where you're coming from, 100%. And I think at times we forget that. Like, even myself, even in business, right? There's a lot of parallels between business, between getting good at any skill, and between approaching women and personal development. Because what's happening is you forget the basics. And this is one of the basics, right? LeBron James, when he was in the fourth grade, first learning how to dribble a basketball, was not saying, I want to learn how to dunk. He wasn't saying he wanted to learn how to dunk until he could dribble a basketball and then do a layup. And dribbling a basketball took a lot of practice. Doing layups took a lot of practice. And if you never played basketball before, there's a lot of muscle memory that goes into doing a proper layup. And if you don't do a proper layup with good form, your layup's gonna suck. And a layup is supposed to be the easiest shot in basketball. But it still takes practice because it's one of the fundamentals. So what I'm saying here is LeBron James, Michael Jordan, they weren't in 4th grade saying, I wanna learn how to dunk right now. They were saying, maybe I'll do that in the future, but let's take it one step at a time. Let me first learn how to dribble the damn thing first, right? So what I'm saying to you, Jar of Pickles, or any other guy who has been falling for that mistake that I've been talking about, is if you're like, I'm going big or go home, I have to take her home. Okay, well, let's say you do want to learn how to take girls home, but you don't even know how to go up and start the damn conversation yet. Let's get good at that first. You know, it's wipe on, wipe off. I'm Mr. Miyagi-ing you right now. Right? That's it. Practice the fundamentals before you even go for the slam dunk. That's all I'm saying, bro. So here's the thing. Unlike basketball, it doesn't take decades to master. Approaching women, once you have the fundamentals, is very easy to master. In fact, I got really good at approaching women. This is going to blow your mind. In 3 months. Why? Going back to the original story that I was telling you. When I said, if your goal is to take her home and you get her number and you make out with her, but you still didn't take her home, then you're like, shit, I had a bad night. I didn't do what I set out to do tonight. But on the other hand, on the flip, if you go, well, if I make my goal to go up and talk to her and start a conversation, and I just think that, all right, once I've done that, because that's all I'm trying to learn how to do right now, once I've done that, then everything that happens after that is just a bonus. If I go home with her, I hit the fucking jackpot. If I make out with her, dude, that's a great bonus because all I want to do is go up and talk to her. Right? Or if she gives me her number, like, awesome, I'll be able to see her later. But you wouldn't have thought that way in that positive light about your night, about that reference experience, unless you had taken it one step at a time. Do you see what I'm saying here? Does that make sense to you guys? All right, I've been 50 plus approaches, and I feel you one step at a time, but he says he's advanced at pickup, and I know how to build attraction and make her feel warm and tingly inside. All right, we'll talk about this more. But dude, I'm glad to hear that you're taking a lot of action. I will say that 50 plus approaches is admirable, but it's not a lot. And you know, you're on a good roll. Take the momentum and keep going. Right? I appreciate that you're taking action. I fucking love it, actually. Right? So most guys will never learn this skill, and we just talked about why. So shocking fact number 3, and I'm going to try to speed this up because I told my girl who's over there babysitting my dog that I didn't want to go over an hour. So if we get close to the hour, I'm going to start, flying off the facts to you. All right, so number 3, I truly believe that cold approaching, or just learning how to approach women in general, is not only is it the easiest way to meet women because it cuts out the middleman, and not only will most guys never do it. So if you do it, you're already one step ahead of most guys, right? And 3, shocking fact is, I think it's the best form of personal development. Right? And I'll give you a story so you can kind of visualize what I'm talking about here. But if you don't know this, when I started this YouTube channel, when I started as a dating coach and I first got my first client, right? What I was doing was I was going to school to be a dentist. And if you guys don't understand how extreme it is to get into dental school, right? If you understand how much schooling it takes to be a doctor and how hard it is to just get accepted to medical school, just know this: dental school is just as many years to be a doctor, and it's more competitive to get into dental school. Why? Because dentists obviously live more of a stress-free life than general doctors, I would say, right? And a lot of people would argue, well, dentists have the highest suicide rate. Here's the thing. I haven't met a single dentist who isn't happy with his life. I've heard that fact, but I'm just telling you. But I've met plenty of medical doctors who aren't happy with their life. So point of the story is, I was in dental school during my first year of dental school. And that was when I was starting to go out a shitload, and I was hitting my momentum. I was a jar of pickles, but I wasn't on 50 approaches. I was on 500, and I wasn't counting. I'm just saying for the sake of hyperbole, for the sake of story. But I don't count my approaches ever. I just fucking do it because I'll get to this in a second. So in dental school, that was when I got really good at game, and that's when I started teaching it to other guys. And I dropped out after my first year of dental school. So I was there for 1 year and 1 month. I even took my first part boards to become a doctor, so I'm technically half of a doctor. And I dropped out, and that's when I went all in on the YouTube channel, right? But do you think that you can make such a drastic life change like that, dropping out to become a dating coach, to start a YouTube channel that has 0 subscribers right now? And all your friends and all your family and all the people you left behind in your hometown to move to Arizona, and all the fucking people you got to know for the last year, know very intimately, and they don't know that you want to be a dating coach. They knew you wanted to be a dentist, and they hear you're dropping out to start a YouTube channel and become a dating coach and get clients, right? Because you want to pursue something you're actually passionate about, which is not dentistry. There's a lot of judgment and a lot of rejection and a lot of having to deal with who's your true friend and who's not, that comes with a big life change like that. Especially one as wacky as becoming a dating coach, because that's not a very common occupation, I'll tell you that, right? So when I made that change, me going through that much judgment, that much fear of rejection, and getting good at game, it was like fitting 5 years of personal development into 5 months, right? However, I almost think I probably wouldn't have made it through that had I not gone through all the experience of actually just getting good at approaching women. Which is the point I'm trying to make here, is that approaching women and just getting good at it is like compressing years of personal development into months. Why? Because once we already established this, most guys can't even bring themselves to overcome the fear of rejection, so they don't even take the first step in the first place. But you have been taking action. You've been learning how to overcome your own fears. You've been learning how to actually value yourself, so that way you feel like you're worthy to go up and talk to that person in the first place. You've been learning personal development and you don't even know it yet. Because you're starting to value yourself. You're starting to become an action taker. You're starting to change your own identity of who you and your friends and family thought you were. You're becoming a better, more attractive, more charismatic, more confident, and more courageous version of yourself. And my mission, I always say this, especially on the email list, is to make you the most confident, charismatic, and courageous version of yourself. And I'm trying to do that with my fucking heart and soul, if you'll let me, right? So if you can even get into the habit of just, you see a girl that you want to talk to and you're like, well, I just want to take that first step and go up and see if she's even interesting in the first place. You're doing something that most people never even get the chance to do. Most people never even give themselves the courage to do. And you having that much courage, and you're doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and you're getting rejected over and over and over. Your skin is getting thicker and thicker and thicker, and you're not as sensitive, and you're not as easily offended, and you're not as easily shooken, and you're not as reactive, and you're not as triggered as everybody else. You're more in control, you're more centered, you're more grounded. Or to most people, you're more enlightened, right? Because they can't even imagine where you are right now. And that's what just approaching girls does to you. It's absolutely crazy. I just saw some comments come in, so what are you guys saying? Pickup is a part of a larger aspect of self-development I have had to take. My father started doing substances, and I had to become the man of the house. It wasn't easy, but God, was it worth it? Yes, absolutely, right? All right, so first off, if you guys don't know who Tony Robbins is, 100% go start following Tony Robbins. Listen to Tony Robbins audios in your free time. Like, literally be taking a shit and listen to Tony Robbins. That's how much I love this dude, right? Tony Robbins says it all the time. The only reason he was able to become who he is and change as many lives as who he has was because of such a rough upbringing. He was broke, right? And his family couldn't even afford a Thanksgiving dinner for his family. And his dad was so embarrassed by it that when people tried to donate food to their family, his dad couldn't take it. The ego, like the invalidation of he can't even provide for his family. That ego hit. His father just took off. And his mother, for the rest of the time she raised him, was very abusive, right? And I'm not telling the story anywhere near as good as he is, but he went through all that shit, and the only reason he can affect as many people as he has is because he went through the hard things. So this is anything that is it's hard for you to do, anytime you have to bring yourself to do something and use willpower and courage, it's going to make your skin thicker. It's going to make you a better, more attractive, more grounded person in general. And all I'm saying is you already want to get laid and you already want to improve yourself. So start approaching women, because you're getting the best of both worlds here. And you're cutting out the middleman, which means that you're actually getting more reference experience faster. You're not wasting your time behind a computer screen. Because even if you're good at Tinder and Bumble, whatever. I promise you, like the amount of times you're gonna meet up with a chick and actually get to work on that skill of being good at with women in face. Let's say you go on 1 date a week. So that means 1 interaction a week with a woman because you want to sit behind a screen and do online dating instead. But when you cut out the middleman, you can approach a girl a day. You can approach 10 girls a day, right? So when the guy who does online dating, he gets 2-3 dates a week, and that's good. Well, if you just bring yourself to approach any girl you find attractive and see if she's actually cool, then you're getting potentially 70 girls in 1 week that you're interacting with, getting rejected, learning the ropes, right? Course correcting. That guy only gets 3 shots to do that a week. You get 70. Can you grasp that, right? It blows my mind when I just talk about it. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, so it's the best form of personal rejection or personal development. Number 4, there's 7 shocking facts that I have for you. Number 4, is this fun and insanely addicting? So addicting, right? Who here enjoys approaching women? Like, who here has actually brought themselves to have fun when they do it? I know Jar Pickles has, because he was saying that he's really good at getting them to feel attraction and making them feel all tingly inside. That was his exact words, right? Or something like that, right? So, who here actually enjoys it? Because if you're not enjoying it, I will say this, you're not doing it right. If you do not enjoy this, you are not doing it right. You're putting too much pressure on yourself. You're psyching yourself out before you even get in the game. And here's the thing, just like something, any skill you're not good at. When I was in high school and I saw in gym class, they wanted us to do dips. And this is like the 5th time I've ever worked out in my life because I'm in high school, right? I was not able to do a dip. I couldn't do a single dip. So every time I saw dips on the workout plan, I wasn't gonna do it. I wouldn't do it because I wasn't good at it, right? But most guys who don't enjoy cold approaching or approaching women in general, it's because they psych themselves out before they do it, and they realize that they're not good at it yet, so they dread doing it. And before they approach her, maybe they can bring themselves to approach her, but they dread it. And they're associating negative feelings with the feeling of actually going up and doing it and taking action, right? So if you associate negativity with taking action, do you think you're gonna take much action? No. So you have to enjoy the process. You have to enjoy the process of getting better. You have to enjoy it to actually get good at it, right? And the way you enjoy it is you stop putting so much pressure on yourself to say the right things. You stop putting so much pressure on yourself to take her home that night. Serious. 1 step at a time. And you allow yourself the freedom to just like free flow and be your normal wacky self. And I don't want to sound trite there, like be yourself. Not at all. But I talked about this, and the reason I talked about it is because it relates with my experience of just like the progression of me getting better at making videos and talking to a camera, right? That progression, I went from dreading it, but then I had to actually start enjoying it and like talking about things that actually interested me on camera, so I wouldn't start dreading it. So I'd actually enjoy going and talking to it. Because when I talk to my girlfriend about half this shit, she starts just like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm joking, but I'm saying like when you can start talking about yourself or things that you enjoy, things that you're passionate about, and stop thinking that you have to follow some like set in stone, like when you approach her, this is what you say, and then this is what you say next, and then this is how you self-entertain. You stop being so damn robotic about it, and you start just like free-flowing and cracking jokes that you find funny. And if she doesn't want to talk about things that you find interesting, then you end the conversation because you've essentially disqualified her because she doesn't have any of the same interests as you. In fact, she probably finds half the shit that you talk about boring and vice versa, right? Does this make sense to you guys? I'm not seeing much comments come through right now, but I want you to know, if this makes sense, you need to give me those comments. I want to see those comments. Or just give me some thumbs up if you guys like this shit. If you're vibing with what I'm saying, let me see those thumbs up as well. Law of emotional transfer. Don't psych yourself out. Antar Das. Yes, sir. All right. So it's insanely fun. And here's why. All right, I didn't even tell you why yet. Here's why it's fun. Because when you go up and you don't put too much pressure on yourself and you go, I'm just going to take that first step and I'm just gonna break the ice, and whatever happens after that is bonus. If that's your mentality, whatever happens after I say hi, all that's just bonus. If I take her home, if she rejects me and I learn one more way to not do it, like no matter what happens, as long as you've done what you set out to do, you're happy about your results, right? Then that's where you can improve, because now you're only focusing on what you can control. And now when you're only focusing on what you control and you're actually seeing yourself improve now, right? Now you're like, oh shit, I improved. I got a result that I haven't got before, or I got that same result again. That's a positive feeling. And when you get that positive feeling, it's like a dopamine hit to your brain. And your brain loves the dopamine. It's why you love seeing likes on Instagram. It's why you love seeing comments come up on the YouTube video, because you like to hit a dopamine, because it means it's resonating with someone else, right? And it's just validation for yourself that yes, I've done what I set out to do and I got better at it. I'm improving. I'm the fucking shit right now, right? And you get that positive momentum, and that dopamine makes you get addicted to it. So addicted to it, right? So it's like a double-edged sword. It's insanely fun, but it's also addicting, right? And I say why addicting can be a bad thing, because if you get addicted to it, then you literally are going out and you almost become like this is part of the phase of improving, but you almost see like a phase where like you don't want to improve because you're starting to love your results and you're starting to get comfortable with your results. But then you got to find, what's the next level? What's my glass ceiling here, right? And then your motivation has to always be like, I'm trying to improve. And once I feel myself getting comfortable, and it's very easy to do, and it's because of that addicting feeling that it gets. You're addicted to that comfort level, but you got to push your comfort zone here. So let's speed this up a little bit. Number 5, we've talked a lot about approaching women already, and you already know why I fucking love this shit, right? But here's the thing. I believe there's no greater power in the world than the ability to see a girl that you find attractive, confidently walk up to her without hesitation, and start a meaningful interaction with her out of thin air, even if you've never met her before, right? Most guys call it cold approach. Most guys call it pickup. Most guys call it whatever you want to call it, approaching women, seducing women. But let's call it out for what it really is. Let's call a spade here, because I'll tell you why we got to call it a spade. Because one example, when I was with my buddy Z in Las Vegas, some of you guys may or may not know who Z is. Either way, not the point of the story. He's got an insanely rich family, and he lives in this huge mansion, and his dad has like 4 amazing cars, and one's a Porsche, one's a Tesla. Anyways, I'm visiting him, and I'm staying at his house for like a weekend because we're partying in Vegas. He lives in Vegas. And we go to the gym one day, and we drive in his dad's Porsche. And I'm like, damn, you get to ride in this every day? This Porsche is awesome. And he goes, hey, Patrick, let's call a spade here. Let's call it out for what it really is. It's not a fucking Porsche. It's a tiny car that's really hard to get into and out of. That's it. It's a tiny car that's really hard to get into and out of. And when you call a spade, and when you call it out for what it really is, then this starts to not become as big a deal to you anymore. It's no longer this pickup thing that you're doing. It's no longer this cold approach thing that you're trying out. It's just like seeing a girl that you think is hot and then walking up to her and starting a conversation to find out if she's actually cool. That's it. And in my opinion, because of the reasons we've already talked about, because most guys will never learn this skill, because most guys don't realize it's the easiest way to meet women, and because most guys don't want to have the courage to go through that rigorous time of personal development to improving yourself, and because it's insanely fun and addicting, right? I believe it's the ultimate power, because you have an ability that most guys will never have ever. And it's really not that complicated, and it's really not that hard. And it's just seeing a girl that you find attractive and going up and seeing if she's actually cool. That's it, right? So I believe that is the ultimate superpower in the world, which brings me into the 6th shocking fact about approaching women. It's just the first step. We've been talking for 50 minutes here. 50 minutes. And I can understand how if I'm making a whole 50-minute video about this, then it must be a big deal. But it's not. Let's call a spade here. It's just the first step. I told you I want you to think about it one step at a time. but one step at a time. And it's just the first step. And like I said, if you can't bring yourself to take the first step, then you're not even in the game. You're sitting on the sidelines. You're sitting at the end of the bench. You're the bench warmer, cheering on everybody else. That's it. You're the extra in the background of the movie. Nobody knows your name. And if there's a monster that bursts into the room, he probably throws a big object on you that crushes you and nobody even thinks twice about it. You're the extra. Nobody gives a shit. You're not even in the game. She doesn't even know you exist. You're not even on her sexual radar yet because you haven't taken the first step. You're putting too much pressure on yourself and you're psyching yourself out. Period. All right, so that brings me to the seventh and final shocking fact. I told you I was only going to make this about an hour long. The seventh shocking fact about approaching women. It's the most misunderstood aspect of dating. It's the most misunderstood aspect of dating. Why? Well, most guys don't call a spade a spade. Most guys make it out to be a bigger monster than it actually is. And most guys don't take it one step at a time, right? How do you eat a whale? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't try to eat the whole damn thing in one bite. You eat the big thing one bite at a time. And they think of this cold approach thing, this pickup thing, that's taboo. I can't talk about it. I'm embarrassed about it, the fact that I'm into it. I don't want my friends to know. And you make it out to be a bigger whale than it actually is. But in reality, guys have been doing it since the dawn of time. They see a girl they find attractive and they walk up to her and break the ice. Period. And I know you have the ability to do it. And I know if you're not good at it yet, or if you're not enjoying the process yet, or if you're not seeing the results that you want yet, you will be, you can get there. Because humans have been around for millennia, thousands of years. And you have an ancestry line that runs thousands of years long. And every single one of those generations, grandfathers of yours, had to at some point man up and break the ice. Period. So if you're not seeing the results that you want yet, or if you're not yet enjoying the process, or if you're making it out to be a bigger whale, bigger monster than it actually is, then just know that as hard as it may be to believe right now, you're capable of it. You are capable of having true abundance and choice and freedom in your life. Why? Because most guys never approach women. But you are, and you're an action taker, and you know that you have the capability to be successful because thousands of generations before you, all of your grandfathers had the ability to do that, and your father. So that should be a rewarding thought for you. That should be a freeing thought, right? So here's the thing. Here's why it's misunderstood. Because they think, I gotta go up and approach her so I can take her home. But I'll tell you what, approaching her does not equal taking home. All right, A plus B does not equal C. If I go up and approach her, and eventually I get so good at approaching, then I will take her home. That's not how it works. You're missing all the steps in between, right? Like I said, one step at a time, but there's a lot of steps in between you meeting her and her laying down, spreading her legs, and letting you slide up in that. There's a lot of steps in between that. So let's not try to eat the whale one bite with the first step. Let's try to eat the whale one bite at a time. Okay? Does this make sense to you? Right? So this is why it's most misunderstood, because they think approaching leads to sex if you get good at it. No. Approaching is just the first step. That's saying, hey, coach, I want to go in the game. That's it. But then after that, you got to figure out how to attract her. And then after that, you got to figure out how to build a connection with her in a way that you're not going to friend zone yourself. And then after that, you got to learn how to actually get her interested to see you again in the future. And then after that, you got to learn how to text her, which goes into that, right? But then after that, you got to improve your body language, because if you don't improve your body language, you don't improve your vocal tonality, you're not going to keep her attracted to you, right? These are different steps, but they're all just as easy to learn as approaching. Because approaching is just the first step. Attraction is just the next step. Building a connection is just the next step. Seeing her again in the future is just the next step. Keeping her interested in you and seeing you again in the future is just the next step. Let's not make this out to be a bigger monster than it is, right? So that's why it's the most misunderstood thing, because you don't realize that there's more steps to it. And you get psyched out because you're like, I thought approaching was the only step. And you're like, shit. And now you already psyched yourself out before, and now you're really psyched out. And now you're really unmotivated. And then you get overwhelmed, confused, and you get burnt out, and you give up. And then you go back to living a mediocre life. And that is the pattern I've seen 95% of guys fall into. 9 out of the 10 people who watch this video will fall out into that pattern. I promise you. Because it's a law of the universe. I don't know why. And I'm hoping that you are not the guy who falls into that trap. That's the reason I made this video. That's the reason I'm talking so passionately here, right? If I wasn't, you would be able to read me right now and see if I didn't believe the words that I'm saying. I clearly believe what I'm saying, and I clearly know what I'm talking about because I've been doing this for years, right? So here's the thing. We've been going here for like 56 minutes. Let me know if you've gotten any value out of this. Let me see. I want to see some comments if you guys got any value out of this at all. All right, let me know. You can't skip every other step just to get sex. Exactly. Approaching is only step 1. There are quite a few steps in between if you have to take before you sleep with her. Yes. All right, so Chosen of Darkness. I feel like the last 3 shocking facts are mainly a problem of men being way too much in their fucking head and making way too big a deal about just talking to another human being. Exactly. Exactly. You guys are, I'm happy that I'm agreeing with your guys' comments because it means you guys are starting to get it, right? So here's the thing. I know, even though I've given you hopefully 7 shocking facts, hopefully you've gotten something value out of this, and I know that I've tried to make it out to be not as big a deal as it is. And I know that even though I've done that, some of you guys are thinking, well, shit, if there's a lot of steps, like, how long is this really going to take for me to start getting results? And I know you're naturally thinking that. So let me ask you right now. If you're on the email list, you already know, and I told you at the beginning of this video that I was going to tell you how you can get free coaching with me, because I want to do whatever I can to help you guys get it across the finish line. And I don't know what your goal is to be here. I don't know why you watch my videos. Your goal could be to sleep with 100 women in your life. Your goal could be just to find your one ride or die chick and who helps you build your path in life, helps you build your empire that you're working on, right? I don't know what your goal is. And in fact, it doesn't really matter because it can change over time. But I do know this. You need the tools to get there. You need the right blueprint to get there. And if you're on the email list, then you already know about this new thing called Legendary Game. And Legendary Game is basically just something that I put together to help guys, no matter what path they're in, to know the exact steps and know how to get there. So if you don't mind, I want to ask for permission first. Do you mind if I tell you a little bit more about Legendary Game? I want to see some comments coming up. Because if you don't want to hear about Legendary Game, you're not interested, I just won't go. I'll leave the video as it is. But if you're interested in learning an easier way to do this and not having to go out and figure this out on your own, then let me know, right? Because you need the right blueprint and you need the right mentor. Let me see some comments come in. All right, I guess I'm just not going to talk about it then. Shameless self-promotion, sure. I'm sure there is value there. Yep. All right, if you guys don't want to hear about it, then I guess that's fine, huh? All right. All right, because I know there's going to be a replay, and I know that there's going to be people who definitely want to hear this. And then here's the deal. If you're on the email list or you follow me on Instagram, then you already know about Legendary Game. So if you would like to get free coaching with me, then here's basically what Legendary Game is. Legendary Game is the same process that I've taken all of my private clients through, the ones who I work with one-on-one. And I've taken the process of developing their game from ground zero, point A to point B, where they are now to where they want to be. I've taken that same exact process of learning the steps without ever feeling overwhelmed, without having to guess about what's the next step, without ever having any guesswork at all, and without making them feel like they're trying to force themselves to be someone they're not, right? I've taken that same process and I'm put it into a program that you can go through at your own pace. And the best part is, it's a new action step with a new training every week of every month for an entire year. And you can't go through the following week until you complete the week that you're on right now, right? This way, you don't get overwhelmed with the amount of information of things that you should and shouldn't do, all right? This way, you don't ever feel confused about what's the next step. You have the few action steps that week and you work on that only. And then the next week, that training is gonna build on top of it, the last thing that you did, and you get a few more action steps. Now you have zero guesswork and you never get overwhelmed with what you should and shouldn't be doing. You always know what you should be doing, and now it's on you just to take the action, right? And so I put that into a program that you can go through at your own pace, 1 week at a time, every week of every month for an entire year. And as a bonus to the first 150 guys who join Legendary Game, and here's the thing, we've been launching this for the last 7 days on the email list, so it's almost full. As a bonus for those guys who join Legendary Game, the first 150 guys, I'm doing a free group coaching call with those 150 group Legendary Game members every month for the rest of time until I continue this program, which I'm gonna tell you what, this is gonna be the backbone of my business in the years to come. So here's the scoop. So basically, you're gonna get that 12 months of online courses, the same program, the same content and information and system that I take all of my clients through one-on-one. You're gonna get that, and then you're also for free gonna get a live group coaching call just like this, but with the Legendary Game members every month for the entire duration of my business existence. But here's the thing, if you wait and you're not one of those first 150 guys, the price is going to double. I made the price stupidly low for the first 150 guys, the guys on my email list, the guys on my Instagram who have been talking about this too for the last week, and now the YouTube channel. And here's the deal. We are almost full. I believe the last time I checked about 3 hours ago, we had 20 spots left. And I'm also shutting the doors tonight because this program has now been out for 6 days. And like I said, I give you the next action step the following week, right? So if you started today, you would get the first action step, and then 7 days later, you would get the next action step. But on tomorrow, on Thursday, those guys who got in on the first day, they're getting their second week. So tonight at midnight, I'm closing down the doors so we can hit the ground running with the guys who joined. Whether it's the first 150 or the deadline tonight at midnight, whichever one comes first. So if you want to check out this program and you want to get free group coaching with me in a call like this every single month for the duration of my business, right? All you got to do is click the link in the description below, legendarygamesystem.com. I put the link conveniently for you below this video or in the comment section. That's it. And that's all you got to do. And join before we run out of spots. Last time I checked 3 hours ago, there's 20 spots left. But regardless of if we sell 150 slots, we're shutting down the doors tonight so we can hit the ground running for this group. And then when we open this again in the future, because I told you we're going to do this again in the future, the price will double. It will more than double. Right now, it's only, I believe, $1.31 a day. That's it. And if you think that it's not worth investing $1.31 a day to improve this area of your life, then you got to ask yourself, do you really value this area of your life? Do you really value your own self-improvement? Do you really want to waste time going at this on your own, having to guess what's the next step? My guess is no, right? My game didn't get good until I got a mentor, until I found a system, until I started taking it one step at a time and I knew what the next step was. So I want to do that for you, right? You already saw my passion in the last 50 minutes, 60 minutes of how passionate I am about getting you across the finish line. So here's what I want, all I encourage you to do is invest $1, a measly $1.31 a day into your self-improvement, to getting free group coaching with me, and getting the step-by-step action steps every week of every month for an entire year. And here's the thing, if you're curious about what these action steps are, I've put those as focuses for the next 12 months, right? So the first one, in the first month, we're obviously gonna be talking about approaching because that's step one. And I promise you, by the end of month one, just month one, you're going to have met more high-quality women that you didn't even know existed than you probably have in your entire life. And I call it approach mastery, month one, approach mastery. Because by the end of that month, you're gonna be able to confidently, without hesitation, walk up to any girl like it's no big deal, right? Then we can start moving on to the next step, which is getting her attracted to you. And that's why month two is attraction mastery. And like I said, every week of every month for an entire year. And then every month for every year, you're gonna get a group coaching call with me and the rest of the Legendary Game Mastermind members, right? So, what's the step after attraction? Well, you gotta learn how to build a high value connection with her. What's the step after that? Nonverbal communication, escalation, texting, things like this, social circle. Most guys think they rely on their social circle to introduce them to qualified girls. But here's the deal. It's really hard to build up an amazing social circle that's going to bring you a high amount of quality of women. It's very possible, and there's guys out there who do it. Dan Bilzerian, for example, he's surrounded by hot chicks. But Dan Bilzerian didn't start there. He had to build that up. So yeah, you could build up a social circle. You could focus on all of that. But do you want to spend the next 6 years doing that? Or do you want to spend the next 6 months getting the same women? It's your choice. So all I'm offering you here is the opportunity to collapse the time to get better at this, to develop legendary game as fast as possible. Now, it's not going to be easy. You still have to take action, but I'm going to give you the action steps, no guesswork. So all I'm offering you here is the ability to do that with my help, holding you by the hand, guiding you every single day live. And I'll be in that Facebook group too, the Legendary Game Mastermind, right? Every day, answering questions, right? But all I'm offering you is that opportunity to work with me and let me make you my next success story for a measly $1.31 a day. And if you think you can't afford $1.31 a day and you are interested in this, then wait until the price doubles, more than doubles next time. I promise you, you're gonna still feel the same way then. But I promise you that same fear and hesitation, the thing that's keeping you from investing $1.31 a day into yourself right now, is the same fear that's keeping you back in your dating life. And you're not going to be able to overcome that until you can overcome the fear of just doing something as menial as investing a measly $1.31 into your own personal development. So that's all I'm offering here. So if you're interested, if this sounds like something you want to check out more information on, then click the link in the bio or go to legendarygamesystem.com. Period. Door shut down tonight at midnight, or when we hit 150 members, whichever comes first. Last time I checked, there was 20 spots left, and that was 3 hours ago. And we've been launching this for the last seven days to the email list and to the Instagram followers, because I have less Instagram followers, but the ones who do follow me on Instagram are the real fans, because that's 1 out of 18 people who follow me on Instagram that follow me on YouTube, right? So I gave them first access, I gave them early access, I gave the email list early access. The guys who had purchased or invested in my book before, or any of my courses before, those guys got early access. That's why there was only 20 spots left 3 hours ago. And whether it's midnight tonight or when those last few spots get taken up right now, then we're shutting the doors and we're hitting the ground running with the guys who got in, right? And the doors won't open up back up for another few months when we open up enrollment again. And like I said, the price will go up. So if this is something that's interested you, if you haven't yet been getting the results that you wanted, or you want to now finally go all in on approaching women and just getting good at seduction in general, because even if you do want to do the online Tinder and Bumble stuff, right, you still have to see her in person. And the skills now you've gotten her attention already. So now we're going to work on the next step, which is attraction, high value connection, relationship mastery, texting, nonverbal communication, escalation, things like this, building up your social circle after you've gotten the skills to build up your social circle. That's what a lot of guys also don't talk about with social circle building, is that you got to have the skills to be able to do it in the first place. And how do you get those skills? Through approaching women. If you want those skills fast, right? So that's all I'm offering you here, is my help every week of every month for an entire year for a measly $1.31 a day to do this. And as a bonus, something that I in the past, I've only had coaching calls with my private 20K clients, and I only take 5 of them. Now I'm doing group coaching calls with the Legendary Game Mastermind, which is all the guys the first 150 that got in. I'm going to do a group coaching call with them for free, about 1 or 2 hours long every month for the duration of my business, right? Or if you want to keep it simple, for the rest of the year, right? So even though I give 12 steps, so it's 12 focuses every month for the rest of the year, right? If you wanted to stay longer after the year, we're still going to have the coaching calls, and we're still going to have enrollment open up every few months, and we may or may not be raising the price every single time, right? So there's going to be more guys coming in. That's why we're going to keep doing the coaching calls. So you can essentially, if this is the last program that you ever invested in, you'd still be well off, because you'd still be getting my coaching, live coaching, where you can ask me your most pressing questions in real time every single month for as long as you want. And here's the thing, you're not locked in. You're not signing a contract here. So if you're not getting results by the end of month 1, then all I encourage you to do is cancel your membership. It's as simple as that. What happens if you have a Netflix membership and you can't find anything to watch anymore for this month? You just cancel your membership and you don't continue next month. Period. That's it. So if you're not getting results at the end of month 1, I encourage that you cancel your membership. Right? Because like I said, I truly care about your results. I truly want to get you where you want to go. Right? And I don't know what your goal is, and we'll figure that out. That's one of the first things we're going to figure out. But once we have those point A where you are now and point B where you're going, my only goal as a coach, as the reason I even wake up in the morning, is to give you the shortest path possible to keep you on that straight line path to success from point A to point B. Anytime you veer off, anytime you start focusing on the wrong shit, anytime you get in your own head, I'm going to course correct you and I'm going to be there for you. And keep in mind, you're in the Legendary Game Mastermind now, right? So if there's 150 other dudes in that group and more guys are going to come in throughout the year, right? And you want to be one of the guys who gets in there for cheaper, one, you'll be grandfathered in at that price. You'll never pay more than what you're going to pay today if you invest today. But two, now if you have a question or you feel stuck on something or you hit like a weird sticking point and you don't even know what the solution is, imagine taking that and describing what you're experiencing in the private group, and then you have an army of like-minded badasses who are on different phases of the same path that you're on, and they're giving you what worked for them in that exact situation. And then I pop into the group and give you my opinion. Now you have 10 solutions at your fingertips at all times for a measly $1.31 a day, and you'll be grandfathered in at that price for life. And if you're not getting any results, I encourage you to cancel. Because bottom line, if you're not getting laid, I don't want to get paid, period. So if this isn't something that sounds interesting to you, you have until midnight tonight or until we hit 150 members, whichever comes first. All you got to do is click the link in the description of this video or go to legendarygamesystem.com, which is the link in the video. And I will see you on the inside. And I enjoyed this, so I might start doing more live streams on a regular basis, giving you guys value because I feel like I'm hanging out with a bunch of dudes at the same time, and it's fucking awesome, right? It's a good change of pace from hanging out with my girlfriend or just approaching women all the damn time. So I enjoy this. If you guys enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up in advance. And thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, doing all that shit, turning on post notifications so you can know when we go live next. All right. And also, I realized that YouTube just had, they just added the community tab to my channel a few months ago. So I'm going to start taking advantage of that, giving you guys updates and announcements as they happen. That way I don't have to film a video and edit it and then upload it just to get the announcement out. All right. So if you're looking for announcements or updates on Raw Dating Advice, when the next video is going to be, maybe I'll poll you guys on what you want the next video to be, or I'll be announcing new products coming out. I'll be announcing when Legendary Game opens back up, which I said when it does in a few months, the price will more than double. Any announcements like that, or just like when I actually plan on doing live events too. So I'll open that up to the YouTube subscribers for you guys to actually start coming to my events. Those will all be in the YouTube community section. So stay engaged with that as well. That said, I'm going to get out of here, man. Hope you got some value out of this, and I'll see you later.